So what's happening in the current setting of the Imperium? Well, the short answer would be constant war. But to be more serious, at least for what's happening right now, after the resurrection of the Big G, Roboute Guilliman, and the creation of Cicatrix maledictum, the Great Rift, the state of the Imperium is in dire and deep straits. Chaos has split the galaxy into two. The Necrons are starting a mass awakening, Hive Fleet Leviathan is closing in on Segmentum Solar, and the orks are more orky than ever. But hope is always on the horizon as champions of humanity always rise up to meet the threat of oblivion. Even though reality here is kinda like, raging against the dying of the light. So here in this video we will take a look at the human heroes that are championing the Imperium in the current era. Here are the 10 most important human characters to the current storyline of 40k. Let's begin. So firstly we have Ephrael Stern. She was promised to the Sisters of Battle before she was even born and was raised in a strict religious school called the Schola Progenium. She grew up to be a very strong and faithful warrior of the Emperor and joined the Order of Our Martyred Lady. Ephrael quickly proved that she was special. She became a Seraphim and then a Sister Superior faster than anyone else. Her life changed forever when she was sent to investigate a lost convent that had been turned into a terrible prison called the Screaming Cage by a chaos demon. When Ephrael Stern was badly wounded there, the trapped sisters used their faith and souls to heal her, giving her great power and filling her with their knowledge. From that moment on, Ephrael Stern was no longer a normal human, as she became something more, touched by the holy power that comes solely from the faith in the Emperor, not from chaos or the warp. In the current era of the Imperium, Ephrael Stern is one of the most important figures alive. She has died more than once and come back. She has defeated powerful demons, chaos champions, and even enemies that block psychic powers. Her faith-based power cannot be stopped by places like even the Pariah Nexus, where other psychers and powers would fail, which makes her a huge threat to the enemies of mankind, especially the Necrons. Some in the Inquisition want her destroyed because they fear her power, but others believe she may be the Imperium's greatest hope since the Primarchs. Her story is leading towards something very big. She is searching for answers about the future of the Imperium, the fate of the Emperor, and a terrible nothingness connected to the Pariah Nexus. Ephrael Stern's journey is becoming the story of a living saint who may help save humanity or maybe change the galaxy forever. Then next we have Demetrian Titus, who was born on the farming world of Tarentus to a poor family, but even as a child, he showed great promise and absolutely no fear, which was a rare trait that led an Ultramarines warrior named Metaurus to choose him as a Space Marine aspirant. Over many decades he survived brutal battles against orks, Tyranids and chaos, often when no one else did. He had successfully defeated quite a few chaos sorcerers, including Chaos Lord Nemarath, Thousand Sun Sorcerer Imura, and a mutated sorcerer of Zinj on a planet called Zauj. He had fended off Tyranid attacks and orc onslaughts all the same as both captain and then as a demoted lieutenant of the Second Company. His ability to resist the corrupting power of the warp saved worlds but also caused suspicion, so much so that he was apprehended by the Inquisition and tortured for a century. After that he joined the Death Watch as a Black Shield and nearly died battling a Carnifex. Still, Titus rose again to become captain of the Ultramarine Second Company for the second time, and now has been named the Warden of Ultramar. So in the current setting of the Imperium, he is one of the most important defenders. He stopped a Chaos Lord from becoming a Demon Prince, he survived exposure to powerful warp energies, and willingly surrendered himself to the Inquisition to protect his chapter. Fully proven pure, Titus was welcomed back and later promoted once again to captain of the Second Company. Now chosen by Primarch Roboute Guilliman to defend Ultramar itself, Titus leads the Wardens of Ultramar and was chosen for a specific task, and that is to reclaim the 500 worlds of that region, in the current era, which means that he must lead the Ultramarines to fight off Orc, Tyranid, Chaos and Necron invasions of Guilliman's once pristine mini-empire. His story is building towards a future where he stands as one of the most strongest shields against Chaos, as an Astartes who is immune to Chaos sorcery, but also as currently as one who must fight off a pending Necron threat under Necrosaur Amenatar. Then next we have Morvenn Vahl, who began her life as a warrior of the Adeptus Sororitas in the Order of the Argent Shroud, where she served as a Celestian who is known for her discipline and courage. During the early days of the Indominus Crusade, the position of Abbess of the Adeptus Sororitas, or the Sisters of Battle, had been empty for quite a number of years, and the leaders of the Ecclesiarchy chose Vahl to fill it. They believed that she would be easy to control because she was young and had little political experience. Once there, she quickly showed that she was not a pawn. Wearing full battle armor even in the halls of power, she focused on restoring contact with the scattered sisters of battle and preparing them for war. Roboute Guilliman recognized her strength and made her a High Lord of Terror, the highest rank for any mortal. So in the current era, Morvenn Vahl is one of the most important leaders of humanity because she leads from the front, not from a throne. She personally commands crusades against traitors and chaos forces, including major wars in the Philosopher's Belt, Ophelia VII, Vasteros and Caradon, where she led a battle group Tarsus and defeated the forces of the Black Legion Lord Discordant called Arcadian Leontus. She defeated powerful chaos champions as well, survived terrible wounds, and inspired the Sisters of Battle by fighting beside them in the front lines. Many now see her as the true military heart of the Adeptus Sororitas. Her story is leading towards a future where she may become one of the Imperium's greatest war leaders, standing as a symbol of faith, of strength and action in a time when humanity is split by the Great Rift and surrounded by enemies from all sides. We also have Arcadian Leontus, who was born into the oldest and most powerful noble families on Terra and was trained from a young age to command armies and rule wisely. Thanks to the finest military schools, great wealth and a lifetime of service, he rose to become Lord Commander Solar. So even in old age, he rides into battle on his cybernetic horse called Constantine, armed with his pistol called Saul's Righteous Gaze and his sword called Conquest. In the current era of the Imperium, he is one of humanity's most important defenders, responsible for protecting Holy Terra and leading massive campaigns across the galaxy. He is responsible for garrisoning the Segmentum Solar despite Guilliman's Indominus crusade, a move that had likely saved the heart of humanity. His story is however building towards redemption and legacy as he is haunted by being away during the Battle of the Lion's Gate when Terra was attacked by the forces of Khorne, and he now leads from the front to atone for that failure and unfortunate absence. So whether surviving a crash on an orc-infested world, destroying a gargant and personally leading soldiers to victory, or commanding galaxy-shaping wars, Arcadian Leontus is one of a kind. He was so important that the Nids, the Tyranids, even sent a non-emissary to assassinate him, but was fortunately saved by Trajann Valoris. And speaking of the man, Trajann Valoris, here he is. He rose from the ranks of the Adeptus Custodes, the Emperor's personal guardians, beginning his career as an elite Alaris custodian chosen for the most dangerous missions. Through centuries of service, he proved himself not only as a peerless warrior but also as a careful and far-seeing leader. He had destroyed deadly threats to Terra, won multiple blood games which are meant to test the palace's defenses, and served for many years amongst the Emperor's companions. So after leading countless battles and security missions all across the Sol system, Valoris was chosen as a Captain General, the highest rank among the Custodes. In the current era, he is one of the most important figures because he stands as the Emperor's living will, defending Terra itself and guiding the Custodes back into active war. He commands the defense of the Imperial Palace during the Second Battle of Terra, fought beside Roboute Guilliman after the Primarch's return, and helped lead great campaigns such as the Indominus Crusade and numerous Soul Blades and the Fourth Tyrannic War. His story is building towards his role as a Guardian General for a changing Imperium, balancing tradition with action as he prepares humanity's strongest warriors to face endless campaigns while ensuring that the Emperor's realm, the heart of humanity, survives the galaxy's darkest age. Marneus Calgar. He is one of the greatest heroes of the Imperium and the long-serving chapter master of the Ultramarines. He is known for his strong will, iron will, brilliant strategy, and absolute loyalty to the Emperor. Across centuries of war, Calgar had led his chapter through some of its darkest moments, including the retaking of the Necron-occupied world of Damnus, where he used clever deception and tactics and bold action to defeat an enemy that had learned the Ultramarine battle tactics. He later played a vital role during the chaos surrounding the resurrection of his Primarch, Guilliman, fighting beside legendary heroes to hold back the forces of chaos long enough for Guilliman to return. When the Primarch departed on his great crusade, he remained behind as the Lord Defender of Greater Ultramar, responsible for guarding one of the most important regions of the Imperium. So in the current era, Calgar stands as both a warrior saint and a master commander, guiding Imperial forces across galaxy-spanning wars. He led the defense of Vigilus, where he united human armies and even forged a dangerous alliance with the Eldar to stop Abaddon the Despoiler, surviving wounds that should have killed him many times over. though grievously injured and forever changed, he continued to command the war from the heart of the battlefield, later being declared a saint by the Adeptus Ministorum. During the Plague Wars and the Fourth Tyrannic War, Calgar remained a steady anchor for the Imperium, crushing rebellions, countering Xenos invasions, and personally restoring lost heroes like Demetrian Titus to the chapter. As of right now, he leads the armies of the Imperium Invigilus, even though there are rumors that he might actually be dead. But to us, we know that's misinformation and fake news. So next is Louis Dante. Also known as Commander Dante, he is one of the oldest and most respected space marines still alive, and his story begins far from glory. He was born on Baal Secundus, a deadly world of salt deserts, radiation, and constant danger. Over centuries, Dante rose through the ranks by skill, courage, and leadership, and after every other Blood Angel's captain was killed in battle, he was chosen as the chapter master, a role that he has held for over 1,000 years. In the current era of endless war, Dante has become one of the most important defenders of humanity. He has led the Blood Angels in some of the Imperium's greatest battles, including the Second War for Armageddon, where his strategy helped break the massive ork invasion led by Gaskell. To common people, Dante is but a living legend. Yet despite his victories, Dante has grown deeply tired. He has lived far longer than he ever wanted, carrying the weight of centuries of war and loss. The burden came to a breaking point during the devastation of Baal, where he led the Blood Angels and their successor chapters against Hive Fleet Leviathan. Dante slew the Swarm Lord, but was mortally wounded, and he actually welcomed death, only to be denied by a vision of Sanguinius who commanded him to live again. After Baal was saved by Roboute Guilliman, Dante was named Lord Regent of Imperium Nihilus, placing him in charge of half the galaxy cut off by the Great Rift. His story now is not just about battle, but duty. An exhausted hero forced to lead on, organizing defenses, becoming a Primaris Marine, and standing beside returning legends like Lionel Johnson. And now this brings us to the man himself, Lionel Johnson, the first Primarch, leader of the First Legion. After his return in the Era Indominus, Lionel Johnson had become a powerful and mysterious force, moving through the darkest parts of the galaxy. He awoke alone in a strange place called Mirror Caliban, confused and without his memories, but slowly regained them, or who he was, after meeting one of his fallen sons and an old man who might be the Emperor. The Lion learned to use a special power called Forest Walk, which lets him to travel through this hidden realm to appear on distant worlds almost at will. Using this ability, he began fighting enemies of humanity in Imperium Nihilus, the half of the galaxy cut off by the Great Rift, which is blind to the Astronomicon. Along the way, he gathered loyal fallen angels who chose to stand with him again, calling them the Risen. He took up ancient relics like the Emperor's Shield and his sword fealty. Right now, the Lion acts as a wandering knight and protector, often ignoring imperial rulers and helping common people and soldiers directly. He has fought powerful chaos enemies, including saving Commander Dante and defeating the demon Primarch Angron in single combat during the Arcs of Omen. Because of this, he is now known as the Knight of Nihilus, a symbol of hope in a region full of despair. The Lion is deeply unhappy with how broken and cruel the Imperium has become, and when he arrives on a world, major changes will often follow as corrupt leaders are removed and things are brought back to normalcy. Currently, he is actively fighting across Imperium Nihilus, aiding loyal space marines like the Blood Angels and the Blood Ravens and Kronos, and pushing back the enemies of mankind. Next, Belisarius Cawl is one of the most important and dangerous geniuses in the Imperium. He is no longer just a tech priest working in the background, as he is actively shaping the future of the galaxy. After helping reviving Roboute Guilliman and unleashing the Primaris Space Marines, Cawl has now focused his efforts on a far greater goal, which he calls the Great Work, which entails stopping or even closing the Great Rift, this massive warp tear that split the galaxy in half. But in order to do this, Cawl has been studying and stealing Necron technology, especially black stone pylons, which are known to weaken the warp and block chaos. Right now, Cawl is actively traveling war zones and ancient Necron sites, testing prototype pylon networks and stabilizing dangerous warp routes like the Adelan Gate, which could become a vital lifeline to Imperium Nihilus. He has already proven his methods work by sealing massive warp breaches and banishing demons using nothing but null fields. During the Pariah Nexus in the Pariah Crusade, Belisarius Cawl joined Captain Messinius on a planet called 7x2, where heavy fighting raged against the Necrons. In the midst of battle, Cawl directly interfaced with the Pariah Nexus, disrupting it locally and unleashing dataphages that crippled the Necron network. However, his work is extremely controversial. Many in the Adeptus Mechanicus believe that he is a heretic, and Guilliman himself deeply distrusts him. But despite this, Cawl may hold the only realistic way to fight chaos on a galactic scale, not by faith nor brute force, but by science and ancient technology. And of course, the most important is Roboute Guilliman. He is a Primarch, one of the Emperor's greatest sons, and in the current era, he is the single most important leader in the Imperium of Man, the region of the Imperium. After lying in stasis for 10,000 years, Guilliman was restored using advanced armor, powerful science, and the will of strange gods. When he awoke, Chaos forces were already attacking his homeworld of Macragge, and Guilliman immediately drove them away. He quickly realized that the Imperium had decayed into superstition, fear, and endless cruelty during his long absence. When Guilliman finally reached the Imperial Palace, he stood before the Golden Throne and spoke with the Emperor in a moment that changed him forever. So immediately after that, he declared himself Imperial Regent and Lord Commander. Guilliman reorganized the Imperium and launched the Indominus Crusade, and sent new Primaris Space Marines across the galaxy to save worlds which are cut off by the Great Rift. He personally led wars against Chaos, Tyrannus and the Necrons, nearly facing off against the Silent King in the Pariah Nexus, and then dueling with Mortarion in the Plague Wars. Guilliman's story is now about holding a broken galaxy. He is a leader who does not really want power but carries it anyway because no one else can. As the Imperium splits, Guilliman stands as its last great hope, trying to save humanity not just through war, but by rebuilding order in an age that seems determined to fall apart. And those are the 10 most important humans of the current 40k storyline. We won't be mentioning the Emperor cause, let's face it, he is as he has always been for 11,000 years, a rotting corpse god emperor on the Golden Throne. Now with that, we come to the end of this video. Do hit the like button for support, and also for the ones holding their phones in their hands, do hit the hype option to push this content further. Subscribe to be a part of Legion Nutbug, and till the next time, take care, boys.